Welcome to another season of the Hope Athletics Orange and Blue podcast. My name is Alan Babbitt, Sports Information Director at Hope College, where we believe intercollegiate sport is a powerful vehicle for education and personal development. The mission of Hope Athletics is to provide and promote programs defined by academic success, competitive excellence, and transformational experiences. Conversations with members of the Orange and Blue family spotlight their experiences with the Hope Athletics mission. With me today on the Hope Athletics Orange and Blue podcast is Hope College cross country and track and field runner Tim Peterson, Jr., and a nursing major. Welcome to the Orange and Blue podcast, Tim.
Thanks.
Let's introduce you. Obviously, your friends here at Hope know your story, but those listening may not. Tell us where did you grow up, and talk a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Portage, Michigan. It's a little part of Kalamazoo, Michigan, about an hour south of Holland, so not too far from here. Grew up in a really tight-knit household, two older sisters, shaped a lot of who I am, given me a lot of good life advice. Was blessed to have two incredible parents. My mom and dad have been married for over 35 years now and have been huge role models in my life as well. I was encouraged from a young age to participate in sports and athletics. I watched both my sisters do that in both volleyball and soccer. And then faith as well was a huge part of growing up and who I am. I grew up in like I said, a tight-knit household that was also one of our big foundations was Christianity and going to church. So I grew up going to church every Sunday, church service in the morning, and then youth programs in the evening. And that shaped a lot of who I am and made me a lot of who I am today. So, yeah.
And obviously, the Portage area is known with athletics. Just tell me about when you got to high school and how you found that running was a sport that really captivated your heart.
Yeah, so I would say I kind of fell in love with running. I guess I would back up just a little bit. In late elementary school, actually, I had played baseball nearly my entire life. I had done travel baseball for quite a while and just kind of fell out of love with that sport. And I remember my dad having a conversation with me and saying, if you're not going to do baseball, you got to pick something because I know that you're athletic and you want to do that. And so cross country was the thing that I chose, cross country and track. And so all throughout middle school and all throughout high school, I was on the cross country and track teams. As I got to high school, I just got involved more with it. I started doing indoor track and field with the club team and just really started to explore the passion that I had for it and truly started to feel like I fell in love with the sport. Um, Being in Portage, we obviously have the Portage Invite every year, and it is crazy. I mean, there's thousands of people that come from all over the place. And it's pretty crazy that my hometown hosts such a huge race every year. And it's a lot of fun. It's fun to race in it. It's fun to watch it. It's fun to be there that day and just experience the energy around the whole course. It's pretty crazy. So participating in cross country allowed me to be a member of that race throughout middle school and high school because Portage Northern is where I went to high school, and so we were usually the school that helped clean up and tear it down alongside with Portage Central, and so we had a little bit of extra responsibility to make the Portage Invite happen. And just they'd use us as free labor, I guess you
Yeah.
could say, because we were running around and picking up cones and putting down flags and all that for the meet. So yeah, I mean that one specifically really made me love the sport and enjoy doing that because it was just such an incredible day there at the Portage Invite, and it was in my hometown. So when people ask about it, they usually are able to attribute Portage with the Portage Invite and can kind of make that connection. So that's cool.
What did you find about running in particular that just kind of grabbed you?
Yeah, that's that's a hard one to put into a really concise answer. I guess I would say, firstly, it's a very gratifying sport that you see the fruits of your labor the more you do it. It's a sport that requires being consistent and consecutive and showing up every day and being willing to, hurt a little bit and work hard at the sport. As with any sport, but I've found specifically in running for me that to show up and to show out every day, whether it's an easy day or we have a hard workout
Yeah.
on the track is important, and to be there for your teammates. And then secondarily, as I mentioned before, my teammates, they are what make the sport what it is. I have found like true family type relationships through cross country and track. The guys that I've ran cross country with here at Hope, I would consider to be like brothers to me. We are as close as it gets, and we don't only spend time at practice together for the 2 hours we're at practice every day. We hang out outside of practice too, and we love to. We love to hang out with each other and watch college football and professional football and all sorts of sports like that, and enjoy time with each other. And so I think that one of the big things for me is that cross country has become not just a sport to me, but it is integrated into my life, and it's where I've met some of my absolute best friends. And I've been able to give glory to God through it when I've had success through it, whether it's a PR on the track or on the course for me, or a team win and a big celebration for the team. That's just as much gratifying for me as a personal win, and then I'm able to give the glory straight to God for that, because He has provided and given me the ability to be an athlete. So I would say really those two big things: being able to see work pay off in the long run with this sport, and then also the people that it grows you to and connects you to, are two of the big parts of the sport for sure.
Obviously, with the your family and the foundation they helped give you, and then with your time at Portage, there was an opportunity. You probably had a lot of different places you could have gone to school. What take me through the process of recruiting and how you ended up here at Hope?
So I would say probably my junior year is when I started getting reached out to from coaches from kind of all around the West Michigan area, kind of in the Midwest in general. So there was a couple colleges in Ohio that I talked to, and then a few in Michigan as well. And I would just say Hope. I just was so drawn to Hope from the people I met on visits, to the proximity to not only home but also to Lake Michigan, which is such a
Yeah,
blessing that we have here in Michigan as well. Um, so during junior year, when I started getting emails or phone calls or seeing coaches come to track meets or cross country meets, I was able to have conversations with them. And I would say that the conversations I had with the coaches here at Hope, I think the first one I had was probably with Brian Van Zanten, was at Portage. I don't know if it was maybe my regional cross country meet or maybe even at the Portage Invite, but him and I had a great conversation. And not only did he reach out to me, but he also talked to my parents and made it known that he cared more about me as a person than just an athlete. And obviously, he was there for athletic reasons, but
certainly.
made it apparent that he also cared about me as a person and wanted me to flourish at wherever I went to school. And so I would say speaking with coaches like that, and especially the coaches here at Hope, really drew me towards this place. And so when I started to engage more and came on a few visits, I was able to come on an athletic visit and meet with the head coach of the cross country team, Mark Nordheis, who's now, you know, a very familiar face on campus for
Yeah.
me, and he's a fantastic guy. And I remember the conversation I had with him, and my parents were there with us. We just sat down and talked about, the reality of being a collegiate athlete. And he kind of asked me, where do you see yourself going in this sport, and how could running in college facilitate that for you? How could you achieve your goals more by running for my program here at Hope? And I think having it be more about how I'm able to continue to chase after my goals
Yeah.
and build on that, rather than just being a number on a spreadsheet on the roster, is what he was looking at. And he wanted it to be more of a personal thing for me than just another recruit that he was bringing to the school. And so he made it feel very personal for me, and I couldn't say no. I loved this place, and the times that I was able to visit, whether it was for athletics or academics, I was just engaged and loved walking around campus and seeing all the smiling faces that, I could see myself in a few years, if I ended up choosing to go here, having those smiling faces saying hi to me walking around campus. And now that is the reality. I walk around campus and say hi to all sorts of people that I know, whether it's people on my team or people from my major and classes or whatever it is. And so yeah, I guess to circle back to the recruiting and my decision making process with this, it was a lot about how the coaches and staff made me feel when I was approached by Hope College and when I was able to come visit here. It didn't feel super. professional and business-like. It was comfortable and it was welcoming and engaging, and just made me fired up to want to continue my athletic career in college. It was a dream of mine for a long time that became a reality when I was a junior in high school, and I realized that could really be something that I could do as I went on to my collegiate career. And so as I went through my senior year in high school and really started to narrow down some places I wanted to go, I first made it apparent that, academics was super important to me. I wanted to go somewhere where I would be pushed in academics and be encouraged to grow in that first and be a student. And then also I wanted to go somewhere that I knew I could be competitive and be pushed to grow and get faster. And that's exactly the thing that I've found here at Hope. That's exactly what I would describe as being a student athlete here at Hope, is that you are a student first, and then when it's time to be an athlete, you're encouraged to be an all-out athlete and to go push yourself and to work hard and chase after, a national championship is what the team's looking for this year, or at least a national standing, a significant national standing. And so, um, yeah, that was super encouraging to me to be able to have a place like that where I could call my college and the place I was going to go for the next 4 years. So.
Did you know when you came here that nursing was what you wanted to pursue, or is that something you found here as you went through your first or second year at Hope?
So I knew that medicine was a path I wanted to go down, and definitely was kind of the career track that I was thinking of. I wasn't exactly sure where in medicine until maybe my senior year of high school when I really narrowed down the nursing department or the nursing track as being something I wanted to do. Eventually, I want to be a nurse anesthetist, so I'm going to go to anesthesia school later in the future is the
Okay.
plan, Lord willing.
Yeah.
And so the first step of that is nursing school. And so I knew that going through nursing school and being able to engage with that would be super gratifying. As I mentioned, my sisters being big role models to me. My oldest sister is a nurse and
Mhm.
has encouraged me to continue to pursue that as I made it apparent that that was something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then my other sister encouraged my passion for learning a new language as well, and so the combination of that, having the familial support, and then also just seeing how pursuing a nursing career and eventually going into anesthesia, that's going to make my job every day a job of serving other people. And I think that would be incredible to be able to walk into work every day and say that I'm able to help someone in need, and to provide something for them to not only, obviously make them physically feel better, but also just make them feel heard and seen, and know that they're cared for. And so I think that being a healthcare professional is going to be, it's definitely going to be challenging, but it's also going to really allow me to have those interpersonal, um, development, opportunities, and to develop those soft skills with speaking with other people and having those conversations. And so I definitely knew that nursing was what I wanted to do coming into Hope, and that's only been solidified these last couple years that I've been here, as I've engaged more in more nursing specific classes and got to know the nursing staff and faculty and fellow students and had job shadow opportunities and things like that. It's really been solidified for me that that's what I want to do. So.
At Hope College, we believe intercollegiate sport is a powerful vehicle for education and personal development. The mission of Hope Athletics is to promote and provide programs defined by academic success, competitive excellence, and transformational experiences. The Orange and Blue Fund exists to support this mission for more than 500 student athletes each year who participate in Hope athletic programs. Our student athletes and teacher coaches are passionate about using sport, academics, and service to shape their time at Hope College. Your gift to the Orange and Blue Fund may be used in leadership development, transformational experiences, and enhancements to facilities and equipment and technology. Give online to the Hope Athletics Orange and Blue Fund at hope.edu/orange and blue. Obviously, just being in your junior year now, you're really getting into the meat of the major. How does the nursing department prepare you and others to be nurses?
So I guess on paper, the things that they line out for you to do, are the clinical skills classes, your clinical rotations that you go to. And then just hands-on learning in the classroom. So we have some really awesome simulation labs here that allow you to work with mannequins, and they are super high tech. They're mannequins that have their own heartbeat, their own breathing patterns, and things like that. And so you're able to go take a stethoscope to the chest of a mannequin, and it sounds like a real human.
Yeah.
And then they get you in the hospital systems around here. So Corewell Health and Holland Hospital and a few other places around here. You get into your clinical rotations, and that is real life scenarios with real patients that you're able to practice the skills you learned in class, a couple weeks before,
Yeah.
and then go take them to the hospital. And obviously we're trained well enough to go in there, and patients are safe and taken care of. And so yeah, they offer just an absolute plethora of opportunities for students to continue to develop those skills and get better at it before eventually taking the NCLEX exam, which is the boards for becoming a professional practicing nurse. And though it's required for the nursing program here to do those classes and go to clinical rotations, I think it's something really unique about the major is that it gives you real life interactions and opportunities to practice what you're learning.
Yeah.
It can't get more real than that.
Yeah.
You can read through a textbook 10 times over and watch all sorts of videos, but doing it in person and making the errors on your own in the simulation lab, and being able to get feedback there in the moment from a professor, and then taking that to the hospital and remembering in the back of your head not to make that mistake again, you can't really quantify that. And it's a really cool part of what makes the nursing program so special, is that it is very personal and allows you to get better at the job before eventually doing it professionally. And then the other thing I would say is, because Hope College is a smaller student body and a really tight-knit campus, the nursing department is also pretty small. I want to say there's less than 50 people in my cohort
Yeah.
in the nursing program. And so you see the same faces day in and day out that you're going to those nursing classes. And so you get familiar with them, and you're able to lean on each other with, getting ready for a difficult exam, or a difficult um, test out in one of your clinical classes where you have to show those skills you've learned one-on-one with your professor. And so we're there for each other, and then the professors are there for us. The ability to sign up for office hours with a professor and know that they're going to be available for you almost every single time you ask, because there's such a small number of us students, is really significant. And again, you can't put like a price on that, and you can't really quantify that, because having those interactions with professors, because they care about you learning more and becoming a skilled nurse someday in the future, is just it's super valuable. And that's definitely things I've been noticing as I've gone through the program so far. And I still have another 2 years of it to go, and I'm sure there'll be more that will um, be open to me as I go, and I'll notice more of those things. So yeah.
I know from previous conversations with students who are nursing majors, obviously, with all that's involved in the clinicals, it is a very intense isn't the right word, but I mean, it can fill up a day pretty easily.
Yeah.
Then you add in trying to be a college athlete on top of that in a sport that requires, as you mentioned earlier, that routine. How have you learned to balance the demands of running and wanting to push yourself with the demands of your major and learning and advancing there in your career? What have you learned to kind of to try to do your best, with it so far here at home?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fantastic question, and one that I would say I'm still fine tuning, because
Yeah,
nobody's perfect, and there's a lot of ways to go about it. I would say, in a few short words, time management and organization have been huge for me. Starting back during COVID in high school, I learned to manage time well when there wasn't really a solidified schedule. When school wasn't in person and you had to meet over Zoom classes or Google Meets, it was kind of all over the place. But I still had to get schoolwork done and then show up to practice at the right time, and still wanted to be successful there. And so some of the skills I learned during COVID and during high school transitioned over here to college. And now, as I've continued to progress in my athletic career, and it's gotten a lot more demanding than it was in high school, I've had to make modifications to how I manage my time. So I guess first it would be, when I am at practice, I'm fully there at practice. My mind is switched on to running, and it's there to train and there to work with my teammates and to support my teammates and to listen to what my coach has to say. And then when it's time to be in the classroom or to do homework in the evening, I turn off the part of my brain that's athletically related, because if I get too engaged with athletics while I'm doing homework, then I lose focus on the school side of things.
Yeah.
And then I'm, 50% being an athlete and 50% being a student. And to be a student athlete, you have to be able to fully engage yourself with whatever you're doing at that moment. I would say the next big part is with that time management piece, being able to organize my schedule when I meet with my advisor to choose classes, to recognize what time of day I have practice. If I have a day where I'm going to be running twice in that day, so if I have a morning run and I'm going to run at practice in the afternoon, what days I have to lift after practice, so that may take a 2 hour practice to more, 2.5 or almost 3 hour long practice. Um, what is it that I'm going to be able to do with my time during the day to make it so that I'm in class at the appropriate times, and then I also can come home and have time to fuel before I go to practice, and I'm ready to go, get it done there. So I would say with the time management piece has just been being intentional about the way I schedule myself to not run myself completely ragged, and by the end of the day feel like I had absolutely no time to do homework or text somebody back or check an email or whatever it is. And I think I've found a good routine for that, and I've been able to work my schedule in a way that allows me to be fully an athlete when I need to be and fully a student at the same time. A lot of the guys on the team have different sleep schedules. Some guys are night owls and they can sleep in because they don't have class until 11 o'clock. And so they're able to sleep in. And some of the guys are like me, where we want to go to bed between 9:30 and 10:30 because we value a good 8, 9 hours of sleep before we have to get up the next day and take on that day. I I gotta make a shout out to my mom too. She was huge on sleep when I was younger and would always make sure that her kids were getting a good night of sleep. And at the time, that was the last thing I wanted to do,
Yeah,
because
of course.
there was always something else I wanted to do. But now I look back and I've thanked her for it, that she instilled in me that motivation to want to get a good night of sleep, because I notice when I don't give my body the basic necessities that it needs with
Yeah.
sleep and hydration and fuel, I just can't perform the same on the track or on the course. And so being able to first of all meet those basic needs, the basic human needs, and then make it so that when I'm taking on the next challenge the next day, athletically or academically, I'm ready to be 100% there. And I would say, in short, that's kind of the way that I've been able to manage the demands of a very busy student athlete schedule. And again, like I said, there's a lot of fine tuning yet to do to find, what really works the best. But I've been pleased with the way that I've been able to balance my schedule and feel like at the end of the day I had a productive day, and I was able to squeeze in the things that are my commitments here on campus.
Well, I would imagine too, the running and is preparing you for a nurse, because a nurse, you need to have stamina, not only physical stamina, but mental
Yeah.
stamina as well. How do you feel what you're doing as an athlete has helped you prepare you for what's next after you graduate here in a couple of years?
Absolutely. I think about that pretty often actually, when I think about, when I'm no longer a collegiate student athlete, what is it going to look like for me to stay physically active? And, it may not be running 80 miles a week anymore, because I just won't need to do that
Yeah.
anymore. And as fun as it is right now, and as much as I enjoy that, I will have to take a step back and recognize that I don't have to do that anymore. But I do think that I'm noticing how both mentally and physically I'm preparing my body to push past the points where I'm really tired and I want to take a break. And it's those moments where, you want to say to yourself, I just can't do this right now. I need I feel like I need a longer lunch break before I go meet with these patients again, because it's been a long morning already. And I'm going to be able to look back on these moments here in college where I had to get up super early and go do a workout and then come back and get a quick breakfast and go to class or go to a meeting. And I remember those moments where it was like, well, I did it back then and I was able to make it work then. And now in that sense, a few years down the road when I'm no longer a student athlete and in a collegiate athlete, I'll think back and tell myself, you absolutely can do it. And so the mental side of things for sure is going to be a lot of what I developed and have developed here doing cross country, because cross country is as much or if not more mental than it is physical. You spend a lot of time out on the course by yourself, surrounded by a lot of other runners breathing hard and sweating and in pain. And it's really easy to isolate yourself and get lost in your mind and in the mental side of things and really bring yourself down there. But through the encouragement of coaches and teammates, I've been able to develop a little bit better headspace when I race than I did in high school. And that has transitioned over to other parts of my life when I'm preparing for a big exam or whatever it is. And then looking towards the future when I have a job that's a lot more significant, I'm going to be able to look back on those mental training days, you could say, for lack of a better term, where I trained my mind to push past when it was hard and to encourage myself in the moment, to just keep pushing forward and to keep going, because eventually it will be over and eventually you will feel better. And so I think one of the big things is going to be that mental fortitude that you build being an athlete and being a collegiate athlete. And speaking to running specifically, that is what you do day in and day out. You train your brain to turn off the feelings of pain and uncomfortability the best you can, because everybody else is hurting just like you are. So you have to be able to embrace the hurt a little bit more than the next guy, and then that's how you push yourself to get across that finish line faster each time. So
You've already alluded to with the friendships and hanging out with teammates, the part of the life here. There are other activities at the college that I know, talking to student athletes like yourself, is the balance where you're able to do other things besides just your sport and just your major. Tell us some, maybe one or two that have been impactful for you personally on your experience here as a student athlete at Hope.
yeah, so like as far as other activities that
Yeah,
yeah.
just on campus.
Yeah, so I'm a residential assistant and RA here on campus, and I also work for admissions, so I'm a tour guide. I would say both of those are two avenues where I can take the combination of being a student athlete and then be able to pour it into other people. And so from the RA perspective, I have a leadership role in wherever I'm living. This year is in Cookeville, so I'm able to live with a bunch of my teammates,
Yeah.
and take that leadership role seriously and encourage others around me. And because it's my teammates, I can I can encourage them in that part of their life as well and say, great job at practice or at that meet or whatever it is. And then also being a tour guide, I'm able to offer unique insight to visitors coming to Hope where they may have questions about athletics or about the nursing program. And I'm able to, dive down either one of those avenues if people have questions, because I've been able to, and I've had the privilege to do both of those things here. Um, I guess furthermore, being an RA and being a tour guide has allowed me to engage with parts of campus I probably wouldn't have otherwise. And so that's different people on campus, that's different staff on campus. So the residential life staff that I've met, they're fantastic people. And I really have learned more about the ins and outs of residential life and housing here on campus and a lot of what goes into it. And it's a lot more complex than people see on the surface, and it's given me a new appreciation for that and a lot more gratitude for where we're able to live. And when I laid in my sophomore dorm in the hot summer
Yeah.
late summer days when there's no air conditioning and wanted to complain, I remembered that the housing people are working really hard to make it possible for all these students to be here. And then being a tour guide too, that's a fantastic team in the admissions building. That's just fantastic people to work with and to work alongside, who care so much about Hope College and want to make it a home for as many people as we can, from all over the nation and all over the world for that matter. And so, yeah, I would say that those two have really opened my eyes to unique, different perspectives from what I would have had just through athletics or just through my academic pursuits, and have really helped build my overall college experience here at Hope College and have made Hope what it is to me. So yeah,
You also had earlier this summer, over the summer, a chance to go on a seed trip, our sports
yeah.
evangelism to equip disciples. That what prompted you to sign up for that, and talk about your experience there and how that maybe impacted your life.
Wow. Well, the seed trip was, in a word, maybe in two words, incredible and life-changing. I guess that was three words, but um, so I would say first, what made me decide to sign up for a seed trip comes back to the guys on my team and some of the mentors that I had my freshman year who have now gone and graduated, who quite a few of them were able to go on those seed trips. And I remember seeing pictures from those trips or hearing stories and wondering and asking the question, what is a seed trip? What have you guys been talking about? And they would quickly say, you got to sign up for it. And I'd want to, kind of prompt further and say, what is a sea trip? Before I go sign up for it, I
Yeah.
want to know what I'm signing up for. And they say, well, it's probably the coolest mission trip you'll ever get to go on. And one of the most unique experiences that Hope can offer to student athletes. So that trip that I went on this past summer, I was able to go to Costa Rica with the seed program and with my team that went down there, and that consisted of people from the football team, men's and women's soccer team, and basketball teams. We had so many people on that team, and we also had the unique privilege of having Peter Stursma as our leader on that trip. And I tell you, having that guy as somebody to take you down to a third world country, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And he fired us up and got us going each and every day. And the other leaders on that trip just made it fantastic for us that we were able to go with them and share that experience. And I think they got out as much from it as we did because they were able to see how us as students were able to pour into the kids there that we spent time with and were able to minister to, whether it was a Bible study or playing sports with them. And I think the leaders enjoyed it as much as we did. I would say, in a short summary of that trip, we were able to go down, and as I mentioned before, there were little Bible studies and sports that we would play with kids in the rural communities there in Costa Rica. And and that was a blast, being able to take sports to a country quite a ways away from where we live and completely disconnected from where we live, and for a lot of people somewhere they may have never even thought about going before, was just absolutely incredible to meet the people down there and to spend however many days. It was just about a week that we were down there, and to spend every day from sunup to sundown sharing the love of Jesus with them through sport was awesome. Because as athletes, we're addicted to our sports and we love it, and we love to be able to compete and fuel that competitive side that we have. But doing it with the younger generation and little ones down there was just super special, because though there was competition, it wasn't the type of competition where, your coach is depending on you to
Yeah.
step up and get it done. It was more so just the friendly, loving competition between you and some kids that you met for the first time and probably will never see again in your life. And so it's just unique and vulnerable, and you just get to go have fun and go down there and serve while you're there. I also had the absolute privilege of speaking a lot of Spanish while I was down there. I'm a Spanish minor and fluent in the Spanish language, and so I was able to engage with people on a different level because of that. And I remember one of my goals going to that trip was to step out of my comfort zone and use the Spanish language as much as I could, because why not? You're
Yeah.
down there and you won't get that opportunity again to do that. And so, whether it was conversations with little kids or some of the adults down there, I gained a unique insight and perspective to the Costa Rican culture while I was there. I learned some cool Costa Rican slang while I was down there, and some stuff to tuck away that, you don't learn in a Spanish class
Yeah.
anywhere else. You won't learn that. And so it was really fun to go down there and engage in sport and engage in language, and then finally to be able to truly serve those people by bringing the Sawyer water products down there with us and install water filters and give out water filters to people in a rural village in San Carlos, and be able to make it so that they could have clean water in their houses for cooking and for drinking. They were able to install these water filters on their taps in the sink, or use a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket with a hole in the bottom with a drip filter in it, and those facilitated clean water in people's houses. And again, you can't quantify that, because having clean drinking water in your house is something that those people maybe never would have seen as a possibility. And through God's grace, we were able to go down there and do that for them. And so that was awesome to be able to serve them in that way and have so much fun doing it. It was hot and sometimes uncomfortable, but those details are just blurry in my mind when I look back on it and I reflect on that trip. I the first things that come to mind are not the shorter nights of sleep or the uncomfortable parts of it. It's the smiles and the laughs and the times we spent in God's word and praying with not only the people on our team, but the people there in Costa Rica and being able to share in a community the love of sport and the love of Christ and being able to share that with each other was truly absolutely incredible. And you can't really put it into words. I can do the best I can to do that, but it's difficult. So yeah.
Well, Tim, I appreciate your insights, and I'd like to close up on the Orange and Blue podcast. Someone as yourself, and probably I'll have you put your tour guide hat back on as
Yeah.
you talk with student athletes that are considering hope.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them to have them make of why Hope College is a place they need to think seriously about, and if they have an opportunity to come here? What do you tell as you're talking to families and parents about what makes this place a place of growth, both athletically, academically, and spiritually, and just wholly as that? What advice would you do you give?
Hmm. Well, that's again another fantastic question, and it definitely takes a step of humility to feel like I'm in a place to give anybody advice because I'm just a guy that goes to Hope College. So I would say in short and in summary to give some advice about being a student here at Hope and engaging with Hope College and being a student athlete, I can assure you from the perspective of a student athlete that this place will grow you in so many different avenues and so many different levels. As an athlete, you will get better at your sport and find ways to compete like never before. You'll be offered opportunities to travel all around the country and compete against schools all over the place and wear orange and blue with pride and get to wear some really cool gear that we have here. No matter what team you're on, you'll get some really sick gear that looks awesome
Yeah,
in the social media pictures. Furthermore, you'll be able to meet some incredible people on this campus. If you are a student athlete on a team, you truly will meet your family here on this campus, both in your teammates and in your coaching staff. You'll find people you can lean on, find people you can rely on day in and day out, whether they're your housemates in the future, your roommates your freshman year while you're here, or you got to give them a phone call or a text because they're a coach that lives off campus. They're there for you and they will become your people. Hope College, again, is a place where once you go here and once you are a student here, you will always be a part of the Hope College family. And so, for the 4 years that you are here as a student, as a student athlete, you will you won't forget it. And when you graduate and move on, you will always be remembered as that and being a person of hope and being someone who participated here and made Hope a better place because you stepped foot on the campus. And they make the people here make you feel that way and help you feel that way that you are unique and you are valued as a student here. You're not just a number in the system here at Hope College. You truly are seen and known as a student and as a human being. And then as a student athlete as well, um, you're a valuable part of the college campus. We love student athletes here. Obviously, I'm biased because I am one, and so I enjoy being an athlete and being able to reap the benefits of that. And pursuing athletics in college is definitely going to add maybe a little bit more stress and a little bit more difficulty to your schedule, but it's going to build you as a person. It's going to really develop those soft skills as you get older and as you progress through your college career. And you'll recognize as you're sitting in a classroom how athletics have built you to be a better person, a better student, a better brother, sister, son, daughter, whatever it is. You're able to understand how being an athlete has done that for you. And here at Hope, I truly think it's the best place to be able to do that, to develop yourself as a person, as an athlete, and to chase after the goals that you have. And then finally, and most importantly for me and for a lot of people too, is to chase after the faith aspect and to be able to connect yourself with the Lord on so many different ways here through chapel or the gathering, the campus ministry staff, or through your athletics and your athletic pursuits. You will find ways to engage with the Lord and dig into the Word as much or as little as you would like. We're blessed with some incredible campus ministries chaplains, and one of them, Matt Margarone, is the athletics chaplain, and he loves to meet people on their teams or on the teams here and have conversations with people and just engage and say, great job, way to go. How'd this competition go? And then sit down and open God's word with you and engage with that. And so I would say, to prospective students and kids looking to come to Hope College, if you want a place that you're going to be able to ensure that in the future you'll look back and be proud of the way that you grew and the way that you developed and the impact you made at Hope College. And now as you step out into the world to be a leader in your career path and in your families, this is the place to be. This is the place to come and ensure yourself and set yourself up for success in that way. And I would say the Hope College is the choice for you if that's where you see yourself.
Thank you so much, Tim. It's time flies by, not only running, but in this conversation.
Yeah,
It's been great to listen to your story, and we wish you luck both this semester in the classroom and the nursing major, as well as as well as the cross country. The team nationally ranked and off to a really strong start and building for a special season. So thank you so much. Appreciate it, Tim.
thank you. I appreciate it.